Hello, my name's Lawrence Wallington. I sing bass in the Monteverdi Choir, and I'm delighted to welcome you to this streaming of Bach's cantata BWV 115, Mache dich, Geist, bereit. As a choir, we may be unfortunately silenced right now, but we can think back to busy times. Perhaps the busiest of times, the crazy and most rewarding project of all, the Bach Cantata pilgrimage of the millennium year. Some of my fondest memories are of visiting Bach towns in the former East Germany. We sang in Mühlhausen, and we sang in Köthen, and we went to Wittenberg. And I remember the audiences in these places having a special rapt attention, and the concerts had a very great depth to them. However, this particular cantata, 115, we performed in England. We performed it in Bath Abbey and in Eton College Chapel, where, because it lay under the flight path, we had to go off to All Saints Tooting to put down the disc that you are about to hear, all in the same month. And we didn't actually bring the roof down in Tooting like we had done perhaps with the Missa Solemnis a decade earlier. I remember a chunk of masonry tumbling down to the ground and stopping recording. So let's think back to Bach's second annual cantata cycle for St. Thomas Kirche in Leipzig, where the 5th of November, 1724, and it's the 22nd Sunday after Trinity. We've left behind Easter and Ascension Tide and Whitsunday, and Advent is on the horizon. And I feel that in this cantata, there is a sense of anticipation, of being exhorted to wachet, not quite in the wachet auf, wait for the bridegroom, he might be coming, keep your torches burning, but in this case, watch out, be awake, because the devil is lurking around every corner. So we start off this amazing cantata with the chorus, which kicks off with an elegant string phrase, which goes bum 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 bum. So that octave leap up symbolizes perhaps the wake theme that we will hear in the alto aria as well as in the choruses. Interestingly, the sopranos who sing the hymn tune above all the rest are shadowed by a part marked for corno. Corno has to be in G, and there are no instruments surviving of that period, and people have had their own conclusions as to what this means. Neil Brough, who's today's trumpeter on this disc, had made for him a curly natural trumpet. It could perhaps in those days have been a slide trumpet, although no one can actually say. Another thing to listen out for in this chorus is a fantastic frantic scrubbing from the violins at a point where we're told that Satan's cunning is trying to lure all the pious into temptation. When that's all done, we come to a lovely Sicilienne in E minor with an Oboe d'amore obbligato from Michael Niesemann and an alto sung by Robin Tyson. We're into sleepy mode here. We're in November and the nights are longer and the bed feels even more welcoming. We're not going to get up in a hurry. And so the clock seems to be ticking in the background to me, where you hear the continuo just going boom, 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 boom. The alto exhorts the soul to wake up from his slumbers, but at times it all sounds like one big yawn and a bit of a stretch, reminiscent of the music perhaps for Somnus, the god of sleep, in Handel's Semele. At one point at the end of the B section, in this amazingly long 10-minute aria, at the end of the B section, there's this sublime arpeggio where the alto does a big arc up and down and taking in the top D, and it symbolizes the if you're not watchful, you will be covered with the sleep of eternal death. Enter Peter Harvey, the bass, who exhorts us all, or actually admonishes us all for our worldliness, and gives us a bit of a bollocking and says that, remember, Satan's cunning, Satan's list. He's just there waiting for you. Beware. Well, next we come to a sublime moment of chamber music. An aria for the soprano, bete, aber auch nicht dabei mitten in dem Wachen. This is started off by an absolutely floating in the spheres duet for Rachel Beckett's transverse flute and David Watkins' violoncello piccolo, which I'm informed is a 6-stringed cello with an extra E string on the top to give it more of a higher tessitura. And I believe one could hear David playing the 6th suite of Bach on his own disc of the cello suites on such a cello by Amati. So the two of them just weave this sublime dream sequence. And a little bit later, the soprano comes in. She's just a third voice in this beautiful chamber music. And she has poise and stillness and calm in her exhortations to bete, to pray, and bitte, to plea. The whole thing is totally magical. After which, enter James Gilchrist, our tenor, who reassures us that the Lord is there to give us strength and courage and will be our helper. All rounded off by coming back to Johann Freistein's chorale, Drum so lasst uns immer da wachen, flehen, beten. So may I wish you happy listening and please enjoy our vocal and instrumental feast, and may I exhort you to listen to some of the other cantatas on volume 12, available from the Monteverdi SDG online website. And you will find on that Wachet auf, ruft uns die Stimme as well. And I wish you happy listening, and pray, be watchful, and don't slumber.